This is Tim Bryce with my column titled, Who Has Really Got the Mental Disorder, Trump or the DEMS? From an industrial psychology perspective, President Trump exhibits a super type A personality, which is common for successful people and something I have discussed previously. This type of person possesses a no-nonsense, entrepreneurial, and competitive personality, something commonly found in the captains of industry. These people represent the polar opposites of type D personalities who are not risk-takers, bureaucratic, and defenders of the status quo. It is not unusual for type A personalities to possess a rather avant-garde sense of humor, which others may misunderstand or even find offensive. Some would even go so far as to denounce such a person as vulgar and crude, certainly not politically correct, which is how the media and the left portrays Mr. Trump. I find this particularly amusing coming from people who publicly demonstrate in bizarre costumes, such as female genitalia, and shout expletives at anyone disagreeing with them. Recently, Dr. Bandy X. Lee, a psychiatry professor at Yale, gained notoriety in the press when she claimed Mr. Trump's mental state caused detrimental social effects. This was used by Democrats and the news media to suggest the president is unfit to serve office and should be removed. Such an analysis is irresponsible, as the American Psychiatric Association declared it to be unethical for a psychiatrist to offer any kind of diagnosis on a public figure without examining that person. This resulted from the 1964 presidential election, where psychiatrists erroneously claimed Republican presidential candidate Barry Goldwater was mentally unstable to serve office and cost him the election. In fact, there has not been any such analysis to suggest Mr. Trump presents a threat to the country, only speculation by his opponents. His detractors contend, at the very least, he suffers from a narcissistic personality disorder. Even if this is correct, which I am not willing to concede, this is not cause for his removal. After all, I believe all of our commander-in-chiefs suffer from a touch of narcissism, particularly the last resident of the White House. The case against the president's mental fitness is nothing more than a smokescreen designed to cause doubt in the minds of people. Basically, he has remained true to his campaign promises. Democrats realize if they lose the 2018 midterm elections, it will be disastrous for the progressive liberal agenda. Thereby, they will go to any lengths to discredit the president and refuses to cooperate with him. As much as the president and the American people would like to see the two parties work together, this simply will not happen until Democratic leadership is replaced. For example, Pelosi, Hoyer, Schumer, and Durbin. Another reason for the reaction to Mr. Trump is the American public no longer is used to a strong personality running the executive branch. Most have turned into politically correct weaklings who have grown afraid of the news media. The last truly strong president was Theodore Roosevelt, who exhibited many of the same characteristics of our current commander-in-chief. Like Trump, Roosevelt was despised by the media, particularly the New York Times and Washington Post. Perhaps the people who truly have a mental disorder are those strongly opposed to the president. For example, they exhibit the symptoms of denial and exhibit an immaturity where temper tantrums flare regularly and venomous hatred is spewed. This would suggest they haven't grown up yet and act on half-truths. This is typical of young people in college who do not grasp the results of the election, how government works, such as the Electoral College, and require childlike caring and comfort. Many of the left blame Mr. Trump for the depression they are suffering through, or for gaining or losing weight. Now we hear of such things as Trump hypertensive unexplained disorder, or THUD, which appears to be commonly used in states not supporting Mr. Trump during the 2016 election. This claims Mr. Trump is the cause for rises in blood pressure and stunning life expectancy. Then again, this was written by someone at the Washington Post, so go figure. The stark reality is there is nothing wrong with the mental fitness of the president. Even though Democrats hope Americans will see him as unbalanced, deep down they know this is simply not true. Again, this is nothing but a ploy to regain control of the Congress in the midterm elections. If the Democrats fail, this will likely be another nail in the coffin in the progressive liberal agenda and will put their party in a tailspin. Friends, keep the faith. This is Tim Bryce in Palm Harbor, Florida. Follow me on the internet at timbryce.com.